right, welcome back for another episode of Dollar Bin Digging. This is the video and article that I do for comicbookinvest.com, where I talk about those books that are still probably tucked away in those cheap boxes, those discount bins, those dollar boxes at your LCS or half-price books, yard sales, flea markets, wherever you're finding your cheap comics. These are some things you might be able to dig out of those boxes based off of some of the recent news, rumors, announcements, things going on TV shows, in the actual comic books, announcements, etc. It's a fun little series of just some things that you can go out, kind of like a scavenger hunt style, and I challenge you to go and find them based off of some of this stuff. If you find anything, please tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see it. Hopefully you're enjoying this series as well as everything else here on the channel. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we keep growing the channel. And if you want to see what books I have for you this week, just hang for a few seconds after the intro and I will be right back. All right, so starting us off this week, we have some news in that the Superior Spider-Man will be returning. So Dan Slott has announced and told us all that we're going to be getting Superior Spider-Man once again. Exactly how that's going to play out, I don't know exactly. But I do know it was actually a better read than I thought it was going to be. It was a better run. I was not looking forward to it. I remember worrying about it at the time, like, wait, Doc Ock swapping minds with Peter Parker? This is going to be dumb. And it actually wasn't dumb. It was actually a good, solid storyline. So I was surprised. With that, we have a number of books we can go back to and look at as they relate to the Superior Spider-Man. A lot of folks like to go towards ASM 700. Lots of copies, lots of covers, etc. We're not going to do this one price-wise because we have some other options here. Plus, this does okay. I mean, it doesn't sell for a ton, but it does all right on the aftermarket. But this is where we do get him announcing himself as the Superior Spider-Man at the end of the issue because Doc Ock's body basically kind of dies with Peter in it. We think Peter's gone, etc. And we all know how it eventually plays out. But at the time, Doc Ock and Peter Parker's body going forward as the Superior Spider-Man as we end ASM at issue 700. Leading into this, though, this gets a little tricky because I was trying to nail down exactly when this moment happened, like of when Doc Ock, took over or got in there. And from what I gathered, I couldn't find the exact moment. I think they went back to it like later in subsequent things, but in the actual timeline of this playing out, this is how I see it going. Issue 697, so a couple issues before that landmark 700th issue, we had this issue where Peter Parker's fighting, the hobgoblins. So we got a couple hobgoblins he's fighting up against. And near the end of that issue, Peter Parker, without his spider sense, is unaware that he's being trailed by one of Doc Ock's gold, little drone things. And I believe that's the thing that actually got into him and, injected Ock's consciousness into Peter's body. But we don't see it on panel. It's just kind of, I see this as almost being alluded to here at this point. So this might be the last time we're seeing Peter before that end. Again, this is kind of a cheap book. It's nothing to really go for because it doesn't actually happen. I mean, apart from the last page splash teasing the cover for the next issue, that's really the only tie we have at this point. But it's still $2.50 to $8 if you can find this. You kind of want to get it just so you can read the whole story, because remember, we can read these things, we can read these comics, and if you want to, get the whole story, you got to get all these issues. So with that, you can still find these for cheap, even asking prices. Look, $3, $7.50, $10. By and large, they're mostly right around cover, or at least cover price by today's standards for comics. So that's really all you're looking at, maybe paying. But you can probably, again, find these in those dollar bins, those cheap boxes, because Spidey was getting printed pretty heavily at the time. So there's copies out there. But as I mentioned, teasing at the end of this issue, we did get the cover for the next issue, which is technically, there's Peter inside Ock's dying body. He's saying Peter Parker on the cover, and he says it throughout the issue, as everybody thinks he just wants to see Peter Parker, but he's trying to tell everybody that that's who I am. But in this issue, which kicks off like right at the start, things are a little off and a little weird. And you can see things here like, oh, look, this guy's like, oh, help Spider-Man. And he's like, oh, can you stop him? He's like, well, let's find out. Like, why wouldn't Peter Parker know if he can stop this guy? Because, well, it's not Peter Parker. This is already Ock taking over his body. If you read the whole issue, you're a little unaware. It's not paid off or confirmed until the end of the issue, but you can see it as you start the book, that you can see there's a difference. There's a little difference between the two issues. Something happened, and like I said, we didn't see it actually happen on panel. But this one is another one. It's not expensive. Look, 99 cents, $6, $3 was sold for recently. Asking prices $4, a dollar. This is a cheap book. And again, get it for the read, get it for the story. But I would say that this really is kind of the first. He's not calling himself Superior Spider-Man, but this whole issue is Ock in the body of Spider-Man. And what was the date on that? Let me go back. November. So this is November 2012. I put these dates on here to try to help myself remember, because again, this is 698, so 2 issues before that landmark 700th issue. But other issues to consider, because it pops up, especially if you do eBay searches for first Superior Spider-Man. You get this Daredevil number 21. You are getting a crossover with Daredevil and Spider-Man in issue 21 and 22. At the end of this issue, issue 21, you see there's a conversation going with the shadowed figure, and it turns out this is Spider-Man. He's saying, "I'll find him and crush him." And then she's like, "What? What are you talking about?" Because this is the Superior Spider-Man, Ock, not Peter Parker. Again, not fully explained yet at this point, but this is what we're getting led into. And this is December, so this is the next month following that ASM 698. So this comes after. So as far as timeline goes of actually publishing, this came after. From what I can see, $25 for this issue and another book we're going to talk about in a second, like paired up together. $10 for best offer on $10 at least for a second print, because there is a second print for this issue as well. So keep an eye out for the second print. Doesn't hurt. $18, $10 for that second print. 18 again thereabouts for the raw number 21, and then there's a 9.8 for $100. Just to give you a ballpark idea of the number. But again, there are copies of these out there. Yes, it got hot for a while, got forgotten about, and got shoved back in those cheap boxes. So before they start getting scoured and pulled out again, yeah, maybe you can go find it again. Just like you might be able to find Avenging Spider-Man 15.1. This is the one you saw that was just kind of paired up in those recent sales. In this issue, it is basically telling you an early Otto. See him saying, "Hey, my name's Otto Octavius. He's Spider-Man's body. He's Spider-Man now, exactly. And whatever." So kind of like a first another adventure for our Superior Spider-Man before he goes by that, by that name. But also, once again, this is December 2012. I think this came out might have the same week as 700 or thereabouts. So pretty close as far as timing goes when these books were released. But sold copies of this one, you can see here, sold for as cheap as $1. $10. There is also a second print for this as well. So some of these could be some of these second print sales. As you can see, best offer on $7 at the top there. That's on a second print copy of this. $40 for a 9.6. Not expensive at all, but it is an early Superior Spider-Man story. Asking prices. Look, a second print wants $3, but then the first print, they're looking more for that 8 to 15. So the second print in this case is not really in demand. It's got the same kind of cover. You just have to look for the second print little notice on the front. But just another book you might be able to dig out of there, as well as this. Probably another book everybody's going to go for these days, because it is the first issue of Superior Spider-Man. So the first issue of this run. It's done well for a while now. There are a lot of printings. There are 4, I think, at least. There's this is the first with the red, the blue is second, the green is third, yellow is fourth, I believe. There are incentive variants as well on this book. But just to give you a ballpark, you can see $5 to $15, and that's also mixing in those other printings as well in those prices, because it's kind of inconsistent. They all kind of jump here to there in that range of $5 to $15. Same thing with the asking prices. As you can see, first print is looking for $12, third print green is looking for 10, and then a fourth print yellow is looking for 20. Again, it's all kind of in that same kind of ballpark range. So if you can find one out there, you might make a couple of bucks if you can find it cheap enough. That's what I got for you for the Superior Spider-Man. But I got a few more little oddball things. It's kind of a light week, so this might be a little bit of a shorter episode. But I do have a couple things that you can go and dig out of those boxes, because I know you've seen these in those boxes. What I'm talking about here is the Dark Tower, Gunslinger. Gunslinger Reborn, I guess it was the title of that first mini that Marvel had. But Dark Tower author Stephen King is giving Mike Flanagan's planned streaming adaptation the thumbs up. So we are getting this series to streaming again. Remember, they tried to do a whole movie thing where they had Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey. They were going to do like movie, TV show, back to movie. They had this whole weird thing planned out where they're going to be jumping back and forth between different, different mediums, but it just didn't pan out. But looks like they're going to give it a go again as far as streaming goes. Probably a reboot. Probably not going to see any of the same actors or anything like that. So why not look back at this series again? Because they printed a lot of these. A lot of these. Again, I know you've seen these. So the Gunslinger Born, first limited series from Marvel, 7 issues. There's issue 1. I'm going to show you all of them. You can find all of these out there. Not expensive at all. These are all very cheap, but you want to give it a read, get ready. This was a good story, and there are novels as well, but these are the adaptations here as far as comic form. And we're going to get it on I forget what series. I don't know what streaming service yet, but and then we got 4, 5, 5, 6, and 7 here. So wrapping it up, you can see copies of these sell for as cheap as like $2 to $8 for individual issues. The whole run could be like $20. First issue even is only like $3. This is a dollar book all day. Asking prices, look, $20 or as cheap as $9 for the whole run. So $10 to $20 for all 7 issues. In some cases with an extra, look, I think there's an almanac or something included in that one. Not an expensive set. And like I said, these you can find. I've seen these plenty in those cheap boxes. But grab them for fun. Grab them for cheap. Give it a read if you haven't already. That said, we do have more news of some more things coming our way. In July, we're going to be getting Dominatrix back. Gene Simmons is bringing this character back to Opus Comics this time. More Dominatrix. This is going to be the issue that this is Jim Ballot on this. This is the new one that's coming out. This is the preview kind of cover. But there was a run before. You can go back and find what is IDW back in the day, maybe like a decade or so ago, maybe a little more. But Gene Simmons, Dominatrix. I think this is an Alex Garner cover that starts us off with this run. Like I said, it's from IDW. Bunch of really nice covers here. If this is your cup of tea, there you go. 1 through 3. And then the rest of the series here with 4, 5, and 6. Once again, prices are pretty consistent across all of them. That's why I'm showing you all of them, because it's not like number 1 goes for a ton, issue 6 is crap, or anything like that. They're all kind of in that same ballpark range. We're looking at like $6, $5, $4, the whole run being like $20 to $25 as far as recent sales goes. Asking prices, well, right now, I think with the extra hype of this being announced recently, they're all looking like 15 to 20. A lot of the asks out there for any of the issues. Like I said, any issue is kind of looking for that 15 to 20. Will they get it? We'll see. But in case you can find any out there, keep an eye out, because maybe you can make a couple of bucks if they start hitting that 15 to 20 mark consistently. And with that, I think I have one more topic for you. And this is a personal favorite. I'm a big fan of this movie, John Carpenter's The Thing. Love it. Love it. I'm almost a big Kurt Russell guy. And that was just, I don't know, Keith David. Awesome story. If you haven't never seen The Thing, make sure you watch it. It's fantastic. That said, John Carpenter says he's sworn to secrecy when it comes to a potential sequel. We did get a prequel story, I don't know, maybe a decade ago. So will we be getting this again? I kind of hope it's not exactly a sequel. I don't want to know exactly how the movie ended, the first one. I mean, there's the tips and all that stuff, but you'd still, there's enough gray area that you can interpret the ending of the original movie, I think, however you like. So I kind of hope they keep that little bit of ambiguity and don't just give us an answer with this potential sequel. But again, I know we can all go through the whole thing and say, well, if you look at it, and we're not getting into it. Anyway, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. That said, there were comics. There were comics related to The Thing that came out, again, a decade later from Dark Horse. I mean, this movie came out in like 1981, I think, or thereabouts. So in the early 90s, I think it was like maybe 1991, Dark Horse did have this 2-issue series, these kind of prestige format for the time. The Thing from Another World, issue 1 of 2. There were $3 on the cover, which at the time, again, was expensive. I think they were on that card stock, nice thicker card stock. Yes, 1991, I was right. Here are the first 2 issues. You could find these out there. This is, I guess, first comic of The Thing. I mean, I think there was some like Mad Magazine and other magazine type appearances, but as far as comic book format, I think this was the first. So it's definitely one to keep an eye out for. Copies of the sets selling for like 23, 21. Individuals could be as high as 18 bucks too. So right on that 20 to $30 kind of range, I would say, is what you're looking at for one to, or both. Asking prices for this, issue one at least here, 10 bucks to 24, 23. So 20 bucks, 23, 10 bucks. Those are just examples. There's a lot of them out there, but that's what you're looking at if you can go and dig this out of a box. There was a follow-up. There's actually a couple of follow-up series because this was also in Dark Horse Presents. I think like issues like 11 or 13, somewhere in that range. So early in that Dark Horse Presents run, there was a Thing story in there. There was also a couple other little minis in that 1993 range. We're going to show you this one other one. I think this is the second one, Climate of Fear. So the Thing from Another World, issue 1 of 4. Again, pretty cool. This is issue 1. Here's 2, 3, and 4. Fantastic covers. Creepy. I mean, the Thing is creepy. It is kind of messed up. It is a little disconcerting to see on camera and see even like the practical effects from back in the day. They're still a little disturbing. But some of these covers kind of try to capture that. But pretty close. Not bad. I think they're pretty good. I like all these. So all 4 issues, 1993. You can find these again out there. Go digging. 40 bucks for the set. Individuals, you're looking at like, $10 to $15. 30 bucks for issues 1 and 2. So you're looking 10 to 15 an individual. Maybe you get the whole set for 40. Asking prices, again, individual issues could be as cheap as $6 or as high as 25. So kind of all over the place. 4 issues is all that you're looking for. And that's what I got for you this week. I know it's a very short show this week, but I do have something to do this evening. So I'm going to go catch the Phillies game with my buddy who's in town from across the country. He's in from LA. So we're going to go check out the Phils tonight and take my little guy out to a ball game. So with that, thank you all for stopping by and checking this out. Hopefully I can get this edited and out to you today. Otherwise, you're going to be seeing this on Friday. I'm going to do my best, but I make no promises. All right. But with that all said, thank you all. Plenty more content coming your way. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Probably not going to make the live chat, but I will see you guys soon with some more content. All right. Later.